Everyone being here this morning. For those who I haven't met, my name is Pete Moore. I have the distinct pleasure of being, hey Carson, the head of school here at Davidson Day. So the way that this morning was, I guess, conceived of is we recently wrapped up our senior speeches, and hand up if you have never been to a senior speech here at Davidson Day, right? Yeah, and so they are absolutely incredible, and these people, young people here, are sort of the products of so Nat, I think, is our most recent person who came to school. She's been here for 18 months, but they'll explain how long they've been here. But they are sort of, here's people we prepared earlier, right? This is what happens with the Davidson Day education is these incredible young people go out into the world, and they each did these beautiful senior speeches, and we wanted to, and I thought how interesting that only a few people really get to see them. Like if you are a student in the upper school, you do. If you're a faculty member, if you're a parent, you come and see them. But if you are, at a younger grade, you might necessarily really have an idea of like, well, what does all this mean? What's sort of the end product? And so I sent out an email to all of the seniors and asked who could volunteer. Other kids volunteered as well. But some had their AP exams this morning, so they weren't able to do it, and so these wonderful young people were able to. And so we're just going to go along the line here. Who's got a mic? And we're going to start with Chase. Chase is going to introduce himself, and then just how long he's been at Davidson Day, and then we'll sort of jump right in.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Chase Newman. So I actually came here when I was about a toddler, so 2-3 years old. So this is my 16th year at Davidson Day.
I'm Nadia Atkins. This is my 15th year at Davidson Day. I came in TK whenever I was 4 and was held back. So now I'm class of 2023 now instead of 2022.
I'm Ariel Bergman. I came here last year for my junior year, the beginning of it. So I've been here since then.
I'm Natalie Monroe. I came here February of last year, so I've only been here for a year, but technically it's my second year here.
My name is Brendan Clark. I've been here since 7th grade, so 6 years now.
And I just wanted to start off by saying that when I started teaching 25 years ago, I taught 4th grade, and it's the end of that year, I was like, I love these kids so much, there's no way my heart can expand to fit anyone else, right? And then 25 years later, hundreds of kids later, I've got all these kids, young people, sort of in my life that you love, right? And that you're just so glad that they've come into your lives. And all the 5 young people here today is Mark Palmer and I teach an entrepreneurial class, and they are just all happen to be in our class, right? And so these are remarkable young people that I get to spend time with multiple times. We teach them 4 days a week, and so I do have a bit of an inside running. I get to speak with them all the time, but they are just remarkable young people. And so it's a pleasure for me to be here this morning and to get to speak to them, but in front of everyone else. Mark had this idea of starting the class with what we call a news circle. So someone will bring in a news article or something, then we'll just talk about it. And the conversations we have are really amazing, and the kids jump in. And so part of what you'll see today is what sort of happens a lot of the time. So we're going to start with, and anyone can jump in, but what extracurricular activities have you participated in during your time at Davidson Day, and how do these activities help you grow? Anyone can start.
So I played a lot of club travel tennis over the last 4 or 5 years, and I'd say the biggest skill I kind of learned from that would probably be mental toughness, just because you're out there for a weekend or 4 or 5 days straight, and you're playing 2-3 hour matches every day, and you don't actually get to talk to anybody but yourself out there because nobody's allowed to speak to you, and so it kind of forces you to figure out how to strengthen up a little bit.
And you took some time off, and what was it like getting back into tennis after taking some time off?
Yeah, it took almost a year off for injuries. It was actually kind of nice because it's a lot of pressure trying to compete for spots on college rosters, compete for recruiting stars, national rankings. It was actually really nice taking that time off, and I'm kind of glad I haven't gone back into the tournament side of it yet.
And how's it been playing for school now, just for fun?
Oh, it's a blast. There's no pressure. It's all fun. It's a great group of guys, and I like it way more than tournaments.
And Nat, you've had some challenges over the last year with injuries, and that's a really great soccer player. How's that been? You've had multiple surgeries, I think.
Yeah, I've had 2 surgeries. I'm going on the 3rd actually right now. I got an MRI yesterday. But anyway, it's been really difficult, especially since I played soccer my entire life. And obviously competitive soccer, like playing club, is so different. There's so much pressure on it. So whenever you get the chance to play school and you just get to play around with it, it's so fun. So I think that in the past 2 seasons, it's been really difficult to sit back and watch. But I've learned a lot, like watching my team and being able to be there for them and just cheer them on the sidelines, even though I can't be there myself.
And did anyone else want to share about their experiences here with sort of extracurriculars? Nadia, you want to talk about, you won the state championship last year. How did you get into lacrosse here at school?
Well, for me, like at the school, I didn't really play any sports until 8th grade. First, it was like volleyball, but it was kind of just like a for fun thing. And before then, I kind of witnessed like other people playing lacrosse, and especially I had a couple of friends from other schools that were playing it. So I was like, I'll try it out next year. So I've been playing since 8th grade. First position was defense for the first season or so, and then switched to attack. And then last year was our best season with only 1 loss to the team that we beat in the finals. And just knowing that we are able to do that and come back even with low players, it's pretty amazing. And it's almost the only time that you can have that feeling again, because it's like a one-time thing.
And what's it like playing with your sister this year?
It's honestly fun because at first, like for most of the season so far, I've been on the attacking side and she's been on defense, and now we're actually teaming up on defense, and it's been fun. Still, of course, have our like little arguments, but I just think it's a lot of fun. I wish you could have joined last year, but like I just feel like it's good because it's my last year, and I just want her to at least experience that before I leave.
And Chase, you started playing basketball again this year, and we were in class yesterday. We had a guest speaker, one of the parents, and he was complimenting Chase on like how hard he worked this year and how he improved. But how did like team sports shape you, and what did you get out of it?
So I was, for a long time leading up to that, my favorite sport was swim. I really wanted to swim in college, and that's a very individual sport. You're really focused on yourself and getting the fastest times and etc. And then to go from that to a sport like basketball, where you've got 15 different guys and you're a senior and you're in a position to kind of have a leadership role on the team, it was definitely very different for me. And one thing that I really liked was just like really trying to bring the energy every game, because that was one of our things that we needed to work on, was like attitude at the beginning of the game, setting the tone. And I would just come into every game trying to get fired up and fire up my teammates, and it was just a great experience. And we definitely didn't have the best record, but that first win, going back into the locker room and just being absolutely just like pumped, it was just a feeling that I've never felt. So, and I got to experience that with everyone on that team, and it was just an amazing experience. So.
And how does, I mean, you said being a senior, like how did that help with, I guess, developing your leadership? You've got younger guys looking up to you. I'm sure it's hard. It was a rebuild season, and they didn't win as much as they would like. And so what was that like, just still showing up, being your best? Was that easy or hard?
I don't know. For me, I would say it was just my gut. It just kind of felt natural to me to just like, I've committed my time to this team, and it's a group of guys that I love, so it doesn't matter the score, doesn't matter our record. And just kind of like keeping that attitude, because I think that whether I like it or not, my attitude rubs off on the rest of the team as well as everyone's, because it's a team sport. So even if we lost that night, coming back into the gym and getting ready and, being determined and, okay, we didn't win tonight, and even if it was by 40, like, let's try and win the next one and the next one and the next one. And eventually, we started playing really good basketball and just winning games. So.
Awesome. Thank you. And we're going to bounce around a bit. We've given them a list of questions, and I did forewarn them that we would likely go off script. So we're going to just talk about some of you wearing your college garb, right? Tell us about whoever wants to start, the college admissions process. Well, first we'll go down the line and then sort of where you're going to college, but then we'll sort of back up a little bit and how was the process and things like that. So we'll just first say where you're going to school next year.
So I'm going to Virginia Tech for engineering.
I'm going to High Point for sport management.
I'm going to High Point for philosophy and social media and digital communication.
I'm going to Point Loma Nazarene, and I'm undeclared.
I'm going to Carnegie Mellon for business and artificial intelligence.
That sounds cool. And so you went to many of them might be familiar with your school now. Do you want to just, where is that? Oh, sorry, Sonat, sorry.
It's in San Diego,
And tell them where it is.
California.
No, but like located.
Oh, like
Right on the water.
Yeah, it's on
like,
a peninsula.
it's pretty cool.
It's on a peninsula.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Point Loma.
And so tell us about, Eric, maybe we'll start with you. Like how was the college admissions process for you? What did you learn about yourself? What were the challenges? What would be good for, if parents have kids, younger students, what would be helpful for them to know?
So my experience was different from most people's experience. I was able to achieve a scholarship early in my junior year, so that it helped a lot because I was able to. I submitted my application in September, and I found out in October. So I knew really far in advance where I wanted to go because I knew like middle of last year, I needed to go there. I wanted to go there. Whatever it took, I was going to get there. And so it helped that, I had more than just my application going in. I had different experience because I only applied to High Point. That was it. It was done. So.
And that's a rather unique experience, putting all your eggs in one basket like that. And it worked out very well. And her parents have bought every bit of paraphernalia from High Point store, so they're still recovering from that. But the store, I mean, not the Ecke Berkmans, but they've got everything. Anyone else want to share about their experience? How was it?
So Ariel and I had very opposite college admissions processes. I applied to 16 different schools and didn't actually find out where I was going until the end of March. That was a pretty stressful process, working on essays from the start of June, July, all the way up until I got denied from a number one, and then my mom made me fill out 9 more applications after that in January, February, but it was kind of a rough process, especially because I only got into, I think, 6 of my 16, because it was a pretty difficult list, but it wasn't a great process. I'm pretty glad it's over.
And what did you learn about yourself during it, and how you feel about now, like where you landed, like in Carnegie Mellon's a wonderful school? How do you feel about, I guess the first question is, what did you learn about yourself going through the process?
I learned I can write 32 essays. I guess I learned that I can write 5 good essays and find a way to use it for all 16 applications, but...
And what advice would you have for some of the younger kids?
Tackle it early. I think my number one school, I ended up submitting the essays and application for, I think, 2 days before the deadline, and so that made it a little stressful, and I probably would have liked to spend a little more time on it, so probably just jump on it early and get it out of the way early.
Anyone else want to jump in with any of that?
I want to second that. I think the best advice would be to get on it early. Makes your senior year like 20 times better.
That was also the same thing for me. Like I kind of jumped on it early. Just like Ariel, we were actually at the same open house last summer for High Point, and then later it was in July. So later that month, I was I just wrote my college essay, so I didn't have to worry about it. And then I went to the college essay workshop, so less work. So just like Brendan and Nat said, just jump on it early so you don't exactly have to worry about it. And just like Ariel, I found out in October about my admission to High Point, and we both got our schedules early, so it just made the process so much easier.
And Chase, you want to share about your experience?
Yeah, so I was in a position, so I wasn't really sure until probably my senior year what I wanted to do. I just knew that I like STEM, and that's just where my passion was. So I was going to go undecided, and then I decided to go with engineering, and I just knew that I loved the Southeast, so I applied to every engineering school in the Southeast. I wasn't really sure where I wanted to go, and then I had a really good experience with some friends at NC State, and that was like my number one, and I just totally saw myself there. And then I ended up getting waitlisted there, and I had to wait from like December to January to March, and then now I'm waiting until June 15th. But so that was really hard to kind of tackle, but then it allowed me to kind of look at all the other schools that I got into, and I think that because I had so much tunnel vision on NC State, and I hadn't really gone to a lot of other schools and toured them and had experiences like that, and so it allowed me to kind of take a step back, look at and appreciate all the other schools that I've gotten into. And I went to Virginia Tech and met up with some alums from here, River Hom and Michael Hills, and I just loved it, and I loved it more than State, and I just like had the time of my life and just totally saw myself there. And so I definitely think it worked out for the better. But it was one of those things where, kind of like at Brendan, where you have your number one school and you don't get in, and it's like, you know, it's pretty heartbreaking, but then, you know, it kind of allows you to take a step back and appreciate all the schools that you've gotten into, and maybe you found the right school for you that wasn't your number one. So.
And Mikey and River are such awesome guys, so I'm sure
Yeah.
you'll have they'll help you as you go there. And so you've had such a unique high school experience, right? The 3 years ago, the start of COVID, and it sort of turned everything upside down. And so you've gone through a lot in a very short period of time, but now, you know, we've had the last 18 months, which is, I guess, regular school. You're heading off to college, and there'll be no normal again, but things are sort of post-COVID, and things are looking really good. And so thinking about your high school experience, how have you grown as a person, and sort of how have you developed, what skills have you developed? If you think 4 years ago to now, so describe who you were and how you've changed as a person. Anyone want to take that?
I know for me, like years ago, it's like a kind of low confidence with like talking like to people, especially like teachers, because I was like, oh, I don't want to like disappoint them. But now, like as I grow, and it's like they won't really be nobody will really be disappointed if you make a mistake. They're just here to like encourage you and help you find ways to not make the same mistakes. And even if you still keep on making them, they'll still stand by your side and give you more ways. And it's kind of, and I've met like way more people like outside of like my comfort zone, which has really helped me a lot with my communication skills.
Great, thank you. Anyone else?
I've grown a lot since just last year as well. I think if you ask my parents, I'm a different person now than I was in my freshman year, just because of many different factors. My freshman year, middle of the way through, like right as COVID was starting, I was diagnosed with anxiety, depression, and ADHD. So I became a different person during COVID as well, and just kind of grew as a person just more and more. I became more determined, more organized. I feel a lot happier now, more outgoing. I feel more like myself than I did before. So that's really helped me just get my stuff together and become like a person who I want to be.
And just for a second, Ariel, during your senior speech, you mentioned coming to Davidson Day at the beginning of your junior year. You met Nadia, you met Kendall, and then sort of things changed for you very quickly. It was really heartwarming to hear your experience coming here, because coming as a junior isn't easy. Just want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, my experience, I was really happy to live here and move here. I've been coming here my whole life. My grandparents have lived here my whole life, so I know the area. I love the area, and but it was different because I wasn't coming here for vacation anymore. But that kind of went away once we started school, and met all my friends, and we would hang out together after school or on weekends, and I felt like I belonged immediately as I walked in the door. Like I had friends the first day of school, so that was really helpful because I was able to talk to people and get to know everyone almost immediately.
And anyway, we'll jump back to that theme a little bit, in a little bit, but anyone else want to share just their evolution over the 4 years?
Yeah, I think the biggest way I've changed over the last 4 years is probably my appreciation for the time I've spent here. Just because, you know, as a freshman, you're sitting there and you kind of can't wait to be this big, tall senior and move on, and you see them all going off to college each year, and you're kind of jealous. But now that it's finally here, it's kind of all hitting me at once that like, the last chapter of my life is essentially over in about 2.5 weeks here. It's pretty scary. I'm not totally sure I'm ready to move on yet, but.
I think more, like regarding the more like intangible things, I think coming into high school, most freshmen are insecure. I think that like they don't know what they're like. I didn't know what I was doing at all. Like I just wanted to fit in, like most of us do. And I think that the biggest thing that I learned throughout high school is just to seek approval and just yourself. And because most of the time, other people are just so focused on themselves and the things that they're saying pretty much only pertain to them, you know? So, and it's just a reflection of them. So I think that looking for approval and just yourself it finds success in the end every single time, so.
And that's beautifully said, and I want to jump on a couple of different things that you shared in your senior speech, which were really, it was beautifully written, very powerful. And you can see these online, we have them all. I've just been really listening to them in the car. I turned them down so I can't see the video, right? But it's just, they're just amazing. And so I got to see most of them live. A few I was off campus, wasn't able to see, but they're really, really powerful. And yours was so beautifully written, and you talked about your relatively short time here at Davidson Day. It's hard to believe that you were never here, like you made such an impact. But you also talked about your time with Mrs. Cope and then how you didn't know if psychology was for you. I just want to talk about that experience of hanging in there where something was tough and it ended up being something that was really meaningful to you.
Yeah, I mean, Miss Hill can tell you, I was like in the trenches. I wanted out so bad, but obviously the deadline was up to drop the class. So I stuck in there, and then it took a while, but after I realized, like, you know, like I just have to get through this, like I need to pick my head up and like keep going. I think that like was really great for me that I didn't just get an out. I think that like I'm a better person because of it, you know? Like I had to get through it, I had to find ways around it and find strategies to be able to pass the class, because obviously I couldn't fail the class. So, but it was really rewarding in the end. I mean, psychology is one of my favorite classes, so.
And talking a little bit about you, in most of your senior speeches, maybe all of them, you talked about adults here that made a real impact on your lives. And do you want to just, each of you just talk about a few of who they may be, and then why that was, I guess, who they are and why they were so impactful?
Like at the school.
Yeah.
So I talked about Mr. Miguel. He is one of the English teachers in the high school. He teaches, I think, AP Lang, composition, and this year creative writing as well. I met him last year, halfway through the year, second semester in composition. I hadn't met him before, so I was really looking forward to meeting him and like getting to know him more. And him and I immediately clicked. I think I was able to kind of open up myself to him more in a way that I only can do with kind of more on my own. More of my passion and love for the unknown, and him and I, like, we talk about it all the time. One day after school, I talked to him for over an hour before my mom had to come and get me and be like, come on, we gotta go home. And I talked about Miss Charlie as well. She's my English teacher this year. I met her this year, and she made a huge impact on my life. Our class is really fun. We talk a lot. It's serious, but also we're all open, and we're all open to each other, and we're all like a big family in there, and I really enjoyed our class.
Anyone else?
There are so many like teachers here that have made an impact on me. It's kind of hard to like pin down to like one person, but I would also say like Miss Riley, because I feel like I can almost talk to her about anything, and I feel comfortable like asking like her for help on like how I can improve like certain parts of like essays and all that, and how I can write things better, and of course like Coach Caitlin, who is the college counselor, and my lacrosse coach. Like, so she's just been great, because even whenever I would like make a mistake, especially like on the field, and I would not always have the best attitude at times. Like she still like stuck by me, and like it just like for me like it just showed that like she really cared and like wanted like to see me grow, and especially she was helpful with my college like applications. She helped me like stay on top of like getting my activities list done, and like and all that. So that's been helpful, and even like McGill, he's just also like really fun to like talk to, and is really helpful with writing essays.
I could probably sit up here all day and talk about Mr. McGill. He's amazing. Another teacher I talk about is Miss Khadijah. So junior year, I took AP Calculus, and I really had no idea what was going to happen. And I walked in there, and she was like, you know, if you do not want to put in the work, do not take this class, drop this class. And I came home that first day just terrified. And but her class really taught me resilience, and I made a lot of mistakes that first year, but she helped me learn, like, as long as you learn from them, don't make the same mistake twice, or at least try to. And I ended up doing really well, and that class taught me, you know, how much I love mathematics and how I wanted to go into engineering, gave me the confidence to take that route. And so she's definitely made a very profound impact on me.
And I asked Tracy if I could ask him this in advance. Your father suddenly passed away really tragically in 2019. Do you mind just sharing, you spoke so beautifully in your senior speech about Mr. Sturm and just the support you received from people that were going through that tragedy. Do you mind sharing that again?
Yeah, so I would say that I got just an overwhelming amount of support from the community here. Mr. Sturm is a perfect example. So shortly after that happened, Mr. Sturm kind of reached out to all of us, a big group of guys, including Brendan, who we all just like used to talk and sit back in his class in middle school and talk about wings and bacon and guy stuff. And we made jokes that that we would all go out for a wing night, and he kind of brought that to fruition, and he put us on a group chat and was like, you know, we're gonna go out, we're gonna go get wings, and it just gave me something to look forward to, and it was just a blast. And we've been doing it for how long now? 4 years? 4 years now. So it's just become a very sacred tradition for all of us to go out to Buffalo Wild Wings and go get some wings. So
And you still, my understanding is you still do that like every month or so?
yeah, we did that a couple weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a great. And then another thing I'd add is like, I took about a month off of school my freshman year, and I was able to kind of put school, I guess so to speak, on the back burner. Like I was able to focus on my personal life and not have to worry about, you know, making up assignments. And all my teachers were really good about being accommodating for a circumstance like that, and that's something that I'm really grateful for.
Beautiful, thanks. I appreciate you sharing so openly. And either of you want to share about someone here that impacted you?
So I'm also going to feed off Chase a little bit here and talk about Mr. Sturm. He taught my 7th and 8th grade English and history, and he's kind of been somebody that I've grown to look up to over the last 6 years. He kind of was the first person to show me that a teacher can really be a friend too. And then obviously when we started getting wings freshman year, it was kind of a great way for all of us as a group to stay together with him, because he left such an impact on all of our lives. And he's really turned into somebody I kind of want to model my character after.
And Nat spoke really beautifully, I might put you on the spot, but in her senior speech about people that have impacted her in a short period of time. Go back and watch them, they're awesome, all of them. But something that I do want to speak, and again I spoke to Nadia about this in advance, but Nadia has shared sort of a challenge that she's faced during her senior speech, being diagnosed with autism, and just want to talk about that experience for you. And you spoke so beautifully, it was very brave of her with like 100, 200 people in the room. Just want to share that experience and how that is, and just the support you've received and the challenges you faced.
Yeah, for me, it's like we didn't exactly know until it was like 5 or 6 or something, because like I mentioned like in my speech, like I wouldn't really talk much in class, but the same thing also kind of happened at home, and then went through some testing, like found all that out. But of course at the time I didn't understand, but I was kind of just like it's like whatever. And then I was put into the learning and enrichment center, which has helped me, which has had my accommodations, especially like I took speech therapy until like fifth or sixth grade and all of that, which has helped me like think about different situations, how to act in them, and that has been really helpful, and teachers have been helpful with that. And there have been some kids like who have like been like understanding about it, so like, especially some friends, and then sometimes if people like would see me and but not understand what was going on, they would immediately just jump to a conclusion and say these things like, oh yeah, like what the heck's going on, like all that. It's you can ask, just like at least be a little bit nice about it and all that.
Thank you. I appreciate you being so honest. And so, what we're going to talk about now is just any challenges that you've faced like over your time here at the school, or just in general, and how did you go about sort of working through them, and the support you received, if you feel comfortable.
Yeah. So for me, like again, like so there have been times where kids would just jump to conclusions just of how like I would act and say things differently from others. Like I'm more emotionally sensitive than other people. I don't always think before I say things, so I always just say something, but I don't always think about it, and I don't always mean it. So people would just be like, "Oh my gosh, why would you say that?" and all that. So some people haven't been understanding about it, but then I do have a couple good friends who have helped me, and then right summer before junior year I started seeing a therapist about it, which has been very helpful, with all that, and I've been seeing her for almost 2 years now.
Thank you. Anyone else want to share?
So at my old school, I kind of curated a schedule to where I could leave really early. So I think my schedule was from 8 to 12. I haven't always really loved school, so whenever I got to Davidson Day and they said that I had to be here from 8 to 3 every day, that was kind of an issue. So at first it was really difficult because I'd always been used to just leaving early, and so I think Davidson Day really held me accountable in that sense, and it's really helped me grow, especially over my senior year and seeing all my other friends who go to other schools. They go to school at 10 and leave at 11:30. It's been really character building, I would say, to be here for the entire day.
Brendan, you want to?
So last year was a pretty tough year. I decided to spend half my year in Kiowa at tennis academy, and so that was, we'd have every morning, weekdays, we'd have an hour of weights in the morning, and then a 2.5 hour practice, and then lunch, and then another 2.5 hour practice, and then an hour of yoga. And there's not really enough hours in the day to get school done with that, and so that was a pretty tough year. But the teachers here were all super accommodating. I mean, I was setting up one-on-one Zoom meetings with Mr. Simpson and Mr. Lodge just to go over stuff, because I had to essentially self-teach 4 APs and 2 honors courses last year, and that's already a pretty tough course load on its own. And so that having to train 7 hours a day definitely did not make it easier, but all the support I was getting from the school and the teachers and one-on-one help really made it possible. But that was definitely the toughest year of my life.
Thank you again. Appreciate you being so honest. Ariel?
So, before I came here with my anxiety and depression and ADHD, I wasn't really living life to my fullest ability, and that was really hard because I wasn't able to focus or study or do anything, and I would feel like I was failing every day when I wasn't doing well or doing anything after school. I would come home and just go sit in our office and eat because I was so exhausted from my full day of school, and I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I thought I was just really stupid and didn't know how to do things, and I had a really bad self-esteem and self-confidence from that. But once I was diagnosed with ADHD, it kind of all came full circle, and I was I'm on medication now, and I have become really, really intelligent, and I'm able to access everything that I was born with, and I'm able to now do really well in school and get headmaster's lists almost every single quarter of the year, and I didn't think that would ever happen to me ever before. So having gone through that, it really taught me just how to challenge yourself, and I'm in TAPs this year in all honors classes, so it's really come full circle from my freshman year.
Thank you. I mean, it's so brave of all of you to be so open and honest. It's really remarkable. I feel very privileged that you volunteered to do this at all, and then that you're being so open and honest. That's really beautiful for you to share. I'd like to sort of change tacks a little bit. And what's it like? So some of you have been here for a long time, probably longer than you can remember that there's anyone else, and others have come more recently. So I guess for the two of you, what's it been like growing up here? It's a very broad question, but people have known you, what are you now, 6'5"?
Yeah, 6'5".
So but like since you were like 2 years old, and they've grown to seeing you grow up that whole time, right? Your 2-year-old teacher is still at the school. What's it like growing up in a place like this?
It's really it's hard to put into words. It's almost like I have this perspective where all I know is Davidson Day. Like when I think of like growing up, I think of Davidson Day. Like everybody here feels like family to me. So like I gave that senior speech, and it was it was a lot, and I really put my all into it. And I came down and I walked down the stairs and I saw my teacher that I had my first year here, my Miss Farah, like just came and gave me the biggest hug, and she was crying, and it was just like beautiful. And it was like someone who works here, like I think of her almost as a mother figure, because she always checks in on me every time I see her. I have a great conversation, and it's like that with a lot of people here. And it's just like everybody here kind of feels like family, and just because I've been here for so long and I know just about everyone here, and it's really special. So.
Especially like also for me, I think I came here like a year after Chase did. So and some of the teachers I've had here for so long, some have left, but some have still like checked in like on me, which has felt great. And of course there have been teachers here who've like been here since I was young, and it's just also I've only known this school for so long, even though. Like in lower school, I almost transferred out of the school, but I'm also happy I did not because I felt like I felt like I would like lose the people I know here. I know actually before then Brendan was at South Lake, and I was almost about to go there, but then they said, oh yeah, we don't have what you need, even though they did say that. But it's almost kind of like a blessing, cause I didn't exactly understand why I would even leave this place, because everyone here is just amazing.
And Nat, you're sort of been here the least amount of time, right? But you've also had a massive impact coming here. Like, you mentioned the challenges you faced when, coming here and having to do a full day of school, and like, what was this, what's it been like for you? It's not easy coming as a junior.
Yeah, I would say at my old school, I went to like a Christian school where they were just like on you all the time. Like you really didn't have like independence. I guess they held your hand through that entire thing. And I would say like the biggest thing coming to Davidson Day, and you'll see like throughout everybody, they will say that like the autonomy is just like something else that you're not going to get at any other school. I would say like that was the biggest shift for me, and I think it's like what I needed more than anything. I think it's really helped me grow, especially in this last year where I needed it the most, and with the time before I'm getting into the real world, like it just couldn't have been better for me.
Thank you for sharing. And you've talked a little bit about your experience and sort of coming in. So I'm going to jump to Brendan, and just what was it like coming as a middle schooler?
Well, I still kind of remember when I was in 6th grade over at South Lake, and my mom told me that she was switching us, me and my little sister, to Davidson Day, and I think I probably threw a temper tantrum for like a week. Just because, like you're a middle schooler, the last thing I wanted was to leave everything I knew behind, all my friends behind, but I mean, looking back on it, it was easily the best decision my mom ever made. I mean, I've never been happier with a change than switching to here.
And I've got two other questions, and we'll open it up for the last 15 minutes or so to people here. Is a few of you have talked, which I'm very pleased you have, about character, right? So our mission talks about Davidson Day fosters academic excellence through collaboration, creativity, and character development. One of the things that I love most about working here is the people we produce, right? Like, is this and hang out with our high schools if you haven't. They're remarkable people. Our young kids are as well, but you start to see, the compound effect, but also like when kids come in who are looking for an environment like this, and they're just amazing people. Yes, they make mistakes and things, but a few of you mentioned character. What does that mean to you, like being a good person and character? Anyone want to take that?
For me, being a good person just means you're open to everything and everyone. Even though bad things happen to everyone, you just have to treat it like, give everyone the benefit of the doubt that they can change and they can right their wrongs, or they're going through a bad day, and just giving everyone grace to go through what they're going through, because everyone's different with how they handle stress or anxiety or bad things happening to them. So it just helps with, everyone has their own story, so just let people write their own story and things happen, so be the light that they have in that story.
I want to second the grace thing. I think that forgiveness for me is the biggest thing. Not only forgiving others, but forgiving yourself, I think is so important, especially in high school when your peers are going to mess up, when your parents are going to mess up. I think that just finding that place in you to be able to have grace for other people, and just kind of being easy and being able to move forward.
And kind of bouncing off what Ariel said, it's just understanding how others are and how they deal with things. I also think that's important, because it's human nature for us to immediately judge someone, and we kind of have to teach ourselves not to do that, and just to overall be nice to everyone, even though at times they may not always be the best. So that's something to think about.
Yeah, and I will kind of second all of them, and I would say, yeah, for me personally, it's hard to define character, but I would say being open-minded for sure, and being welcoming of new people, and then being empathetic with people around you. If you don't know what someone's dealing with, or you don't understand what's going on with someone, do your best you can. You can try to put yourself in their shoes, and there's going to be a lot of times where you have to be empathetic with yourself, and I know personally I'm definitely my hardest critic, and being able to take a step back and understand that, and be forgiving of yourself and the people around you, because you're going to make mistakes. It's a long road. And I would say that a lot of people here, especially transitioning from 8th grade to freshman year, everyone was really welcoming. The most overwhelming part for me was that I was going to have a lot of classes with upperclassmen, and that really intimidated me. But then I also played soccer my freshman year, and I just got to know a great group of guys from seniors to freshmen, and everyone was really welcoming, and it just helped me boost my confidence and just make that transition in high school, because that was something that I was really nervous about. So,
Brendan, do you want to have anything to share?
I think the biggest thing for me is being genuine. When somebody can let their guard down around you and really be their self around you, it really sticks out to me. It means a lot, because where was I going with this? I blanked. Yeah, being vulnerable. I'm a pretty observant person, so I can sort of tell when somebody's not really being their true self around you, because the reality is we're all imperfect. We all have our flaws, and it really means a lot to me when somebody will show their flaws and not try and seem like they're perfect.
I get paid for this. Isn't this cool? You're remarkable young people. I worked at an all-boys school in Australia, and it was been around for 170 years, and our head used to say, we're in the business of growing great men, and I feel that we're in the business of growing great people, right? That's sort of what we're here to do, and this is sort of evidence of it, right? It's just really cool. And one of the things that has been wonderful teaching a high school class the last couple of years is seeing, and many of it has been seniors, is seeing people at the end of their high school journey. And like, man, like imagine being this at like 17, 18 years old. Like I wasn't like this at all. So you guys are amazing. The last one, a question I have, and is something that attracted me to the school was that it was so small, right? That you walk down the hallway, right, as I do most days, and you walk down our high school hallway, and it's like, hello, 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 you know everyone, and this and that. Like, that has its pros and cons, but what do you see as the advantages of going to a small school?
Definitely the relationships you have with your teachers. I mean, if I were going to a big public school like Huff or something like that, I mean, there's no way I'd be getting wings with my old English teacher once a month, or staying in contact in the slightest. And, you know, teachers like Miss Shiley, like we go into our personal lives together, and that's just not something you're going to find anywhere else. You just get that really one-on-one relationship feel, which is incredible. It's something you're not going to find. Yeah, I definitely agree with Brendan. I never thought that I would be getting wings with my middle school teacher. It's really special. Another thing that I've realized the pro of going to a small school is like people around here really care about what you're doing outside of school too. Like I had a talk with Ms. Taylor just about the other day. I co-founded a nonprofit my freshman year, and she was just eager to hear about how it went, and I was able to talk to her about how that went, and it's something that's really special to me. And everybody here is just like invested in you, and they care about you, and they want to hear about what you have going on, whereas again at a big school like Huff or like Norman, you really don't get that connection. And I think it's definitely, the pros definitely outweigh the cons.
Yeah, I would agree, and especially like with like small schools, like I feel like you can get more help from your teachers that way, because like with a class size of around 10 or 15 kids instead of a class size of 30 kids, it just makes the connections with teachers and even your peers so much better, because like you can get help from either of them. You have more time to schedule with them on certain assignments. And especially with like the sports year, like you can just like sign up for a sport even if you don't know what the heck you're doing. Like people help you along the way, and kind of bouncing off what Chase was saying. The people do care about like what you do like outside of school. Like sometimes like I'm in yearbook, so sometimes I had to stay after school or go somewhere to take pictures. Or sometimes I have appointments like to get to after school. Like actually one time, my sister had an appointment to get to, and nobody else was able to take her. So Miss Taylor and the other teachers like thought it was okay that I just went and took her. So that's been fun, and even traveling for sports and other trips.
So just like it's been really helpful because you know everyone and everyone knows you, and you build relationships with the students and faculty really easily because they're open to getting to know you more than just as a student. They want to know you as a person and who you are, like down to the core. And I definitely will have like long-lasting relationships with everyone here, and I want to come back here and visit because I want to see everyone, because I want to miss everyone so much.
I think I realized my appreciation for small schools whenever I was looking for colleges. I was looking at like Clemson or like some of the UC schools if I was looking at the West Coast, and I would just like realize like when I was looking at them, like you'd see one building over here and then you'd see the other building like 20 miles away, and it's just like scattered everywhere, and it's just so overwhelming for me. And I think that's when it started to set in that like when you go to those schools, you're kind of just a number, and yeah, you can have like meaningful relationships and it works for some people, but I just feel like those little environments where everything is just like together and like you can see everything in one view, like those are just what hits for me. Those personal relationships are so meaningful, and they're something that I really cherish.
No, that is scripted. Can you believe it? That is awesome. Thank you. So well done. We'd love to open up for questions now for the audience. I'll walk around with the microphone if anyone has any questions. But before we do that, thank you so much for giving up your time. We initially had sort of like double the amount of volunteers. We're going to have to sort of swap people out half time. But then they had AP exams, we didn't realise. So I'm so grateful that you've done this. And so can everyone give me a big round of applause? Thank you. And anyone have any questions for our panelists? Oh, great. All right. I'll get my steps in. We'll start with you, Tequila.
First of all, I want to say congratulations to you all, and thank you so much just for your vulnerability this morning. Thank you just for being so open. This has been fantastic. The question that I would like to ask is, what has been the funnest moment that you've had so far this year? Was it prom? Was it something that you did with your family? I would love to know that fun moment that you've had this year.
It's really hard to choose. I'm gonna come back.
I'm gonna go with our senior trip back in September because that was kind of, it's kind of a shock factor for a lot of people when they find out there's only 31 people in our grade. But and it's it's nice because it kind of forces you to be friends with everybody almost because you kind of only have each other just because of how small you are. But going on the senior trip for 3-4 days with everybody really gave us all time to hang out together and bond with the people you don't normally hang out with. I'd say that was probably the best part of this year.
Yeah, the senior trip was like a really big fight with my mom. I didn't want to go at all, but she was like, they already took the money out of the account. So I was like, it was just like a whole thing. I'm pretty sure I didn't talk to her for like 3 days. Yeah, it was bad. But so anyway, I went. I didn't go in with like the best attitude. I'm not like an overnight girl or like anything like that, but I thought it was so fun. I found my friends in my class. I have a lot of friends like in the other grades, but for my class in particular, I wasn't close with a lot of people, but it's just so fun talking to the people that you don't normally talk to and kind of hearing their stories, even if you don't talk to them like every day. And the staff that went with us were really great, and just like the late night talks in like the hot tub or like the food was really good too.
Yeah, I would say it's the senior trip. I think I remember the first night, like almost our whole entire grade was in the hot tub, which was not meant for all the people in the hot tub. But it was really fun because we all hung out on the beach. We had like the whole day for all 3 days free, and we'd go out on adventures and kind of just all hung out together for the most part in like two different houses. We split up, but we all hung out mainly in the girls' house, which is like the nicer house and the superior house. So yeah.
I mean, like there's so many events that I've enjoyed. Like prom was a lot of fun. Dancing, homecoming was a lot of fun, especially like some of the basketball games, some of the football games, the lacrosse games. They've been fun. But I'd also say the senior trip, it kind of had me like connect with people that I don't always connect with, and it was fun like, just hanging out on the beach and like playing football like in the ocean, even though at some point we lost it, but it was worth it. And then we'd have like late night like music sessions like at the pool in the girls' house, and especially card games like 12 or 1 in the morning, playing Cards Against Humanity. That was a lot of fun. I think like everyone was laughing so hard, and it was just a great time.
I'm going to say something really original here. I also think the senior trip is really fun. Yeah, I think for me, who's been here for so long, and there's a handful of lifers still left, and I kind of grew away from them, and having that time to be there with them, I found myself like really connecting with them again and having good conversations and catching up with people that I really haven't talked to in a while. And it was pretty cool because I was able to see how much they've grown from what I remembered in middle school when we were all really awkward and not really on our way to now where we're all going off to college and we're our own people. I just thought that was really cool. And there was also a really nice balance because compared to like, obviously when you're in middle school, it's a lot more structured, but obviously since we were seniors, we were able to really go out and have fun and explore where we were and socialize, as well as, there was a nice balance between that, so.
That's awesome. Thanks so much for sharing.
Thank you guys for sharing your stories and all of your experiences today. I wanted to let you know that your photography that you did for I think it was a donation for the school of some sort for the yearbook. We actually use that as our family holiday card, so thank you. You guys did a great job. And secondly, my question is for the kids that are doing competitive athletics. We have a son who's actually joining here next year who's pretty competitive in sports. And I just wanted to know, going into college, what are your thoughts post facto of spending all of the nights, all of the weekends, time, tournament, investment, one, away from school, or in place of school athletics, and are you planning going forward?
Well, I didn't start playing tennis competitively till I think 7th grade, and being somebody that was kind of like on the brink of, I was starting to get recruited and getting some offers, and then to kind of have that taken away for 8 to 10 months from a knee injury, like that, it kind of stinks and seems kind of like a waste going back, but when you kind of really think about it, it wasn't at all, and I'm definitely going to try and play club at Carnegie Mellon next year.
Thank you.
So I love it.
Yeah, for me, I obviously talked about the knee surgeries that I got, but I've been playing soccer since I was like 4 years old. I've been in sports my entire life. I definitely put in the nights, the work, the Saturday mornings that you didn't want to get up. And I would just say that even though I'm not playing anymore, like it taught me so much. It taught me such a work ethic, and I learned so much. I made like the best friends on my club teams and my school teams, and I really would have loved to play in college, and hopefully I'll get the chance to play some sort of intramural or club.
Yeah, especially for me, like I've only been playing like lacrosse like since 8th grade, but it's been a lot of fun because you have people like around you to like to encourage you to work hard and all of that, and I thought maybe I'll play in college, but like even if like you don't end up doing it, there's also club or intramural sports like that you can do. But if I would say like if your kid definitely like wants to play in college and is looking for it, definitely go to work hard, like go to any tournament that you can, but also make sure you stay on top of your schoolwork, because colleges will also look at that, because they won't just focus on one person just because they're a good athlete. They also have to make sure that their academics are good and they're well balanced.
Yeah, just second what Nadia said, I would say balance is the biggest part. I did club swim, which was 6 or 7 days a week, 2.5 hours every day, or 2.5 to 3 hours every day, and it was just very taxing, especially during my junior year. And I would say the biggest part for me was balance, and especially taking the course load that I did, going from like sophomore year, which is pretty relaxed, we were still in COVID mode, to kind of full speed ahead. My junior year, the hardest thing that I had to learn how to do was balance athletics and practice. If I had so much to do, but I really did not want to miss practice, sometimes sacrificing to put my schoolwork ahead, I ultimately, at least for me, that was my top priority. And as well as the mental health aspect of it, especially if he's really competitive, it's going to take a toll on you. And I think that especially having you guys as parents to support him through it and being there for him will help kind of balance him as he can do both of those things.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all for sharing your stories. You're all an inspiration, and for sharing your perfect imperfections. As I'm listening to you guys, I'm like, oh my gosh, you would have such an impact on middle schoolers, especially 7th and 8th graders. Give like one sentence or just kind of advice that you would maybe give to a 7th or 8th grader. I mean, wasn't that long ago for you guys, and you're coming out on the other end. So I think a lot of this stuff is so impactful for that age group.
I'll go first. I would say that if I was going to look back and tell myself something in 8th grade is, despite, trying to be a perfectionist, you're going to make plenty of mistakes, and it's going to be okay, and you're going to learn from them, and just focus on, the things that make you happy, and you're going to be okay, I guess is what I would say.
Yeah, I would agree on that, and I'd also say to basically like whoever you're around is kind of like who you'll become. So kind of like choose your friends like wisely, like especially like in high school, like make sure like you're around someone who's gonna like help you like get better like in things, and not like put you down for the little things, because nobody wants that. So just make sure you remember to like choose wisely whoever you hang out with, and also be confident.
Yeah, I would say be outgoing, do the things you didn't think you should normally do, like go for the hard classes, meet new people, because everyone's wanting to meet someone new and do something different than normal. But also, don't be afraid to put yourself first and prioritize mental health and what you should want to do. Like spend some time alone, learn how to be alone and hang out by yourself because you're the only person who will be with you all your whole life. Because everyone leaves at some point during your life. So being able to be alone will help you in the long run.
I would say that the one thing that I've learned, like that I wish I could tell my middle school self, was to just be vulnerable. I think that being vulnerable has gotten me my deepest relationships that I hold to my heart near and dear. Obviously, you throw your heart out sometimes and it gets stabbed, but you kind of just have to pick yourself back up and realize that like everything you have, like the closest things you have in your life that you would literally die for, it comes from being vulnerable. And
I think something I wish somebody had told me back at that age would be that, I mean, obviously that's time in your life when you're changing so much and so fast, and it's terrifying. And I wish somebody had gone back and told me or made me realize that everybody feels the same way. Everybody's terrified and changing and opening up new chapters of their lives together. I think if I had known that, I think it would have allowed me to let my guard down a little more, maybe laugh at myself a little more, and not be so caught up on what everybody else thinks or looking at other people's how perfect they are as opposed to my imperfections. I think that would have allowed me to really just live in the present more and enjoy it a little more.
And we'll just take one more question. I think we had one down.
I was just interested. How did you find a school in California in one that I don't know if anybody knew of before?
yeah.
And what led you to that school?
So I went to San Diego in like the beginning of my 9th grade year, and I was like, I'm going to college here. Like, there's no question about it. So like throughout my high school, I've been kind of just like looking for schools. So when I went out there this past year, I was looking at like the state schools. So I was looking at like University of San Diego and like San Diego State and all that. And then it's like the thing about like the personal touch that you just don't have with those schools. I kind of felt that. I mean, obviously they were really beautiful, but it's kind of a weird story. A friend of a friend was talking about how she played softball in college and how she went to this one school in San Diego and it like took her breath away. So while I was out there, I was like, maybe we should schedule a tour. And then I went on the campus and I was like, this is it. Like, yeah.
How many students do they have?
2,000, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or maybe like 2,300. Yeah,
Oh.
it's really tiny.
Going off to college is a big deal. And you will be totally independent of your families for long periods of time. Have you set objectives for yourself in terms of maintaining your personalities, maintaining your objectives in life, and in maintaining your independence and self-sufficiency?
I'm actually excited to find this out. I think it's kind of like a learn as you go type thing. Obviously, I haven't done it, but I mean, we're getting thrown to the sharks, so I don't think there's really any other thing.
I would say for me, athletics and exercise and playing sports, especially swim, keeps me grounded. So when I go to college, I'm definitely going to swim club or intramural, and I love to work out, and that's just something that really keeps me grounded. So I think as I transition into a place that is completely new, staying true to my habits and my morals and the things that I know are sound will kind of help me stay grounded as I continue to go off to college and furthermore.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I know myself really well and I know what I can take and what I can't take. I'm looking forward to being independent and being able to make my decisions and choosing to be more outgoing and just be not the same person I am, in high school. I'm going to be more of what I aspire to be. and what I really want to be. So hoping that I just keep getting closer to that person.
Yeah, I'm also like really looking forward to being independent. Like her and I will only be an hour and a half away from home, so at least like we're not too far away, but far enough to where we're not 15 minutes away, and we have a family member checking in a lot. But I just think it's like really gonna be like a huge lesson for me to be like how am I gonna do this what are jobs in the real world gonna be like.
I was just gonna say, on a more serious note, I feel like even though I've only been here for a year, like Davidson Day just done everything possible to like help us become the most self-sufficient that we can. So I think that like all of us are not gonna have that big of a hard time. I mean, other than missing our family, being responsible, kind of keeping on top of things, and having a very clear direction as to where we're going in our next 4 years.
So I think living at that tennis academy for the year last year really was a good step in the right direction as far as independence goes, just because there was 12 to 14 of us at a time living in one house, and there would be one house parent there. And so they kind of, they pretended to care about our schooling and keeping us on track, but the reality was I was the only person there that was doing actual school. Everybody else there was full-time there. They were doing online school, so they don't have deadlines, due dates, nothing. And so they could kind of sit down for an hour and get 3 weeks ahead, or they could not do anything for 2 months and fall way behind. But having firm deadlines and times that stuff was due by, it really forced me to learn how to be independent, because it's not like I could really talk to them about it because they wouldn't really understand, just because they didn't really have to do that. So hopefully that was a step in the right direction.